Sorry to join us.
I'm going to interrupt you as I do.
Go on, Greg Palast. I'm sorry, very briefly. This is my bad because I didn't do this a little bit earlier, more frequently. This is happening. I'm Jerry Quickly, and my live in-studio guest today is the legendary Greg Palast. He is a filmmaker. He is a New York Times best-selling author and an investigative journalist.
Thank you so much, and I would like to say that, Los Angeles has the largest Armenian population outside of Armenia, and you never heard that story anywhere else in the Los Angeles media. So when we talk about Jerry Quickly providing the information to the minority media, that includes Armenians. I mean, so what we're talking about here, and the reason I'm so thrilled to be on today, you are listening to the final broadcast. This is the last rodeo, the end broadcast for This Is Happening, at least for now. Let me explain. It's been a 2-year run. The money and contract ran out, and of course, KPFK is not exactly flush, so we're trying to figure out how we can get that funding back so we can once again bring back Jerry Quickly. In the meantime, you don't lose Jerry Quickly. You can, over the next couple of weeks, we're putting together the podcast version of This Is Happening, and you can find out all about that and get Jerry's hip-hop music, stories about his films, his upcoming opera with Philip Glass, etc. at Jerry Quickly. At Jerry
Just
Quickly.
Go to Twitter, use the handle at Jerry Quickly, and if you want to follow me online, I've been saying this since I've started the show. You can follow me online by using the handle at Jerry Quickly on Twitter. You can also go to soundcloud.com/TIH Live, and all the podcasts will be up there for all the shows. And you can also follow me on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search for Jerry Quickly, and hit subscribe, and we post new videos every day.
Every day, and that's not going to stop. This has been an extraordinary 2 years, and I want to thank Jerry for this astonishing amount of information. The guests are astonishing. The stories are astonishing. His rants are astonishing. His poetry is astonishing. His astonishment is astonishing. And I just want to say, once again, you're listening to the last program of This Is Happening with the astonishing Jerry Quickly. It's not over with, friends. Once we can get out all the finances and everything all straightened out to get back on the air with this exceptional show. There's just nothing like it in Los Angeles. The most popular show on KPFK in the afternoon and evening. And just go to @Jerry Quickly to keep up on it. That's his Twitter handle. This is Greg Palast. By the way, go to gregpalast.com, and I'll be with Jerry working on this through the Palast Investigative Fund. We do investigative reporting, but we know that, what investigative reporting requires? It requires investigative reporters. It requires people like Jerry Quickly, who put his life on the line. Well, the stories he told me is so harrowing. I know he doesn't want to repeat it because he'll start hiding under he has that PTSD thing.
There's a reason I don't drive anymore.
Yeah. When you've been kidnapped, you don't drive anymore. So this is one of the problems and Jerry's really literally given his blood for the Pacifica Network, KPFK, and it's been a hell of an enjoyable run for everyone, including the listeners. And I want to thank Jerry Quickly once again for these extraordinary 2 years. We are going to plan. We're planning. We're trying our best to come back, and we're putting together the resources to do this and keep this extraordinary program going. But in the meantime, go to the YouTube and look up Jerry Quickly. Subscribe to his videos, which are astonishing. And gregpalast.com will also keep you informed. My website about what's happening. So This Is Happening, and this is the last happening. This is Jerry Quickly. Jerry?
Yeah, so
we have a caller.
Yeah, we do. Let me see. Let's get to some calls here. 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. Let me see. Next up, let's talk to Jonathan calling from somewhere in Los Angeles. Jonathan, welcome to the show. What's the dealio?
Hey, thanks for having me on board. Hey, back in May, I was actually out of the country in Thailand and was able to check out your show via the archives. Actually sent you a postcard from there.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
All right, man. Anyway, listen, I just wanted to pledge to the show and thank you and thank Greg, and that's my
Oh, Jonathan, that's really kind of you. If you'd like to pledge, just go to kpfk.org or call the front desk. And I'm in this number out because I'm trusting that you all actually listen to me when I say that KPFK and Pacifica Radio are my media partners. and we are joined together at the hip. We are trying to address an issue of financing. We're trying to address an issue of resources, but there should be absolutely zero, less than zero animosity for KPFK and Pacifica. And I encourage you to call and make a pledge. You can.
Yes. And by the way, if you do call and make a pledge, it's very important that you say this is a pledge to support Jerry Quickly, and this is happening, so that the station will know that's just something that is vitally important. And it's also, again, where we can push resources. We're hunting around under every desk, under every rock. In fact, we found some valuable mushrooms that way. And
there's a puttanesca sauce.
Yes, wonderful. We had puttanesca last night with Miss Bad Penny. And all I got to tell you is please support Jerry Quickly. Go to @JerryQuickly, and we'll keep you informed about how we're proceeding.
And John, thank you so much for the call
and the card.
If you'd like to call the front desk to make a pledge or offer some other kind word of warmth and support for the station and the network, you can contact them at 818-985-2711. Again, if you'd like to call and make a pledge to help address some of the issues that the station and network struggle with financially, I encourage you to please do that. And you can do that by either going to kpfk.org, and there's ways you can donate there right on the front page, or you can call the front desk. Again, please be kind, be decent. These are my friends and my partners. This is just a resource issue, and we're trying to address it. So you can call them at 818-985-2711 and be kind to my partners. No one is being helped through frustration. So thank you for the call, buddy. Take your calls at 818-985-5735. Again, that's 818-985-KPFK. I want to play this next clip. In this clip, this is pretty stunning, I think, and the reason it's stunning is because this is a Christian caller who called in, and the Christian caller called in and was objecting to what he believed were my blasphemies, because I said the word goddamned, and he was very offended, and we had a conversation about it. Let's give a listen.
What's going on? It's Crack-a-lackin', my peoples. How you doing? I'm Jerry Quickly, and I was told just a few days before Christmas that This Is Happening was going to be canceled, and that I was going to be fired as of Friday, January 4th. Well, since then, my union is working with the station to try to restore the show. We have a commitment of an outside underwriting grant from a private foundation that will cover the majority of costs for the show, and as a result, the station has taken a pause to consider this offer. My hope is that they will accept this offer as opposed to pausing and considering the offer. Right now, your voices are critical for the support of This Is Happening. And to be clear, with your support, we have built the #1 afternoon and evening show at KPFK. The show is a platform for you all, you rebel scum, to survive the Trump administration, and you're exactly my kind of rebel scum. So my hope is that you will continue to support the show. I am fully dedicated to the show and its restoration, and the only way that we are going to get through white supremacy is together. And this show can be a critical component of how we all move forward together. It certainly has been for me. I hope that it will be for you going forward. And please take the time to repost and share this video, repost or share the links. You can follow them below. And with your help, we can restore This Is Happening, and we can make this better for everybody, y'all. I mean that. Thanks so much for your support.
A guy from SEAL Team 6 who became a gal. And, I certainly wouldn't want to have been in that compound that night, not knowing if I was getting out or not. I mean, And so this is the stuff you get and that you've gotten on This Is Happening. And again, I want to remind people, this is Greg Palast as a guest. This is the last show for This Is Happening. 2 years of Jerry Quickly. It's been astonishing. You hear guests that you like that you've just heard, and more than we can name. Extraordinaire. And by the way, if you want to pick up some of the guests, there's nothing wrong with going back through these programs and picking up the ones you've missed. I mean, the guests are astonishing, except for me, Greg Palast, and I'm mediocre. But I'm going to tell you this. This may be the last show of This Is Happening with Jerry Quickly, but I want you to continue to follow Jerry's work and his guests in his show, which is going to continue starting in 2 weeks. Get the information at Jerry Quickly, which is continuing every day on Twitter. There's the Jerry Quickly YouTube channel where the program will continue on YouTube, and in addition, we will be back on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com with Jerry's show. Get the information from at Jerry Quickly. It is an extraordinary show that's not easy to put together, that's expensive to put together because you have to have the full production. It's a lot of work and a lot of time. What may sound like Jerry just riffing it, there ain't no riffing it. He's putting you on that.
There's a lot of folks working on this. Jose Benavides and the rest of the team here. There's a tremendous amount of time that goes. It may sound a little breezy, but trust me when I say I'm just the tip of the spear. There's a whole team back here, and they put in a lot of work to get the show on.
And unfortunately, it's a lot of blood in that. And you know, the truth is that a lot of Pacifica stations, KPFKs in that position, all radio stations are running out of the cash to produce these high-level programs that we would love to see. And we're going to do our best. This is Greg Palast. I'll be working on this. Jerry will be too. And with KPFK to bring Jerry back onto the air. It's an extraordinary program. This is a guy who's a journalist, a filmmaker, the librettist for Phil Glass's operas, Whistleblower, and then he's got another one coming out on Water. I hope I didn't say anything out of turn there. He's got, if you don't pick up his hip-hop album with Bus Driver, you've missed something absolutely stunning and extraordinary, and a great poet, and on and on and on. You wonder, when you look at what Jerry Quickly has done, you wonder what you've done with your life. I feel, like, gee, I've been just goofing off.
The same thing we do every night, Pinky.
And so anyway, I do want you to know that Jerry is not forgetting you. Get him at Jerry Quickly. This is the final of this series of This Is Happening, and we don't know if we'll be seeing you again over the horizon, but we're going to be trying. We're going to be working on this.
We are working on, well, hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit of fundraising, and that will allow shows like This Is Happening to continue to flourish, and
there is nothing like
also help other programs doing the same, because at the end of the day, This Is Happening is just it's a part of Pacifica, it's a part of alternative media. There are many, many important and critical voices, and I hope that we will be able to do successfully fundraise, so that we'll be able to continue to bring you a show that is
astonishing.
A place of significant importance in my life, and I hope it's been
and there's been a lot of support. And by the way, I want to thank all the listeners too, because I was just looking at something they call the Cumes, that is the Nielsen ratings, and this is the most popular of KPFK's programs in the afternoon and evening. There's nothing, because people are excited by what you hear on This Is Happening with Jerry Quickly. He's not dissolving. He's not going away. Check out what's going to be happening, where you can find his extraordinary analysis programs, guests, music, operas, hip-hop, poetry, at Jerry Quickly. That's vital to join
and Jerry Quickly. Occasionally I post pictures of the bonsais I work on, because that's my solo thing at home. We're taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. I'm Jerry Quickly. This is happening. Right before we get the calls, I really want to play this Manafort clip. And in this clip, you don't actually get to hear from Manafort, and the reason I tried to talk to Manafort and get the interview, but he was in jail. He was busy styling on the Ivanka Trump "No Money on Your Books" jail attire line, and this was one of the takes that we had here on This Is Happening on Paul Manafort never getting out of jail again for the rest of his monkey ass life. Paul Manafort is going to jail. He is not going to jail, rather. He is in jail. And he will never see the outside of a prison. He will always see the sky through bars or through a prison yard, if he has a view of the sky at all, for the rest of his greedy
life. F your $5,000 suits. F your house. F your couch. F your couch. They should have never given you Negroes money. Take your calls here, 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. Let me see. Next up, let's talk to Kamani calling from Los Angeles. Kamani, welcome to the show. What's the dealio?
Hey, Jerry, I'm really sad today because it's your last day there, but, I'm going to continue to follow you, but, yeah, my heart is broken.
Yeah. This is Greg Palast. I'm my heart's breaking with you. But we're going to go to @Jerry quickly to stay up on all the insane, mad stuff that Jerry does. And we're going to be working hard to get him back on the air. We just got to, again...
It's an issue of funding. If we successfully fundraise, we'll get there.
We
can do what we need to do.
And we're going to work on that.
I'll continue to fund as much as I can, but I just want you to know that I love you, and I will continue to follow you, and I thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you so much, Sister Kamani. I really appreciate hearing
You're very welcome. In fact, if you go to @Jerry Quickly, we'll be creating the fund that will start to get us back on the air. And most important, again, this is a lot of work because you got all these extraordinary stories and people, and a lot of production goes into this show. And it's a type of quality programming which includes spaces for investigative reporters like myself. You just don't hear anywhere else. You certainly don't get it on National Petroleum Radio. There's another very easy way to raise money. That is if you, Chevron Petroleum pays for the entire news hour of PBS, but you didn't know that. That's how it works. But I don't think Chevron's going to be supporting Jerry soon.
Really? I was typing up the email right now. Hey, Chevron, where my oil money at?
I have to say that Chevron actually threatened me and tried to get me fired from BBC television because I actually reported on them. And then I reported on KPFK. I report with Jerry Quickly. And what happens? You don't get no money, and the microphones go blank. Again, this is the final episode of This Is Happening. This is our last one, final rodeo. It's been great to hear Jerry Quickly every day at the 4 to 5 slot. But stay tuned with us at Jerry Quickly on Twitter and, of course, the YouTube channel.
And there's a long ongoing dialogue that continues, and I think it's critically important that everyone, myself included, support critical alternative media outlets like Pacifica and like KPFK. If they were better supported, we wouldn't be in the place where we find ourselves currently.
Yeah, and let KPFK know that you love Jerry and you love the show, and they'll probably pay more attention if it includes a check with it. But always, I know that the station always loves to hear from the listeners. But we know because we've seen the Nielsen ratings. I was just looking at them today. This is the top-rated show in the afternoon and evening, and that means that you care about this show and you want this show, and we're going to do our best to bring it back to you. Again, the last day, the final show for This Is Happening with Jerry Quickly. This is Greg Palast adding his annoying voice.
Let me see. Next up, let's talk to Asnu calling from Los Angeles. Asnu, how you doing? Welcome to the show. What's the deal?
All right. Thank you, Jerry, for taking my call. So, Greg just verified rumors that have been circulating around the community for a couple of weeks now that you were being terminated. And as a listener, subscriber, member of the station, I'm not simply willing to take this sitting down without some kind of action opposing it. Canceling This Is Happening would eliminate, like you're saying, the number one web program. You're one of the top fundraising programs for the station. You provide a dynamic drive time program that presents issues and expert voices that don't receive coverage in the mainstream media, but are vital to the well-being of the
Okay. Oh, good. I thought we lost you briefly.
No. And the show also provides a vital source of information for communities that are underrepresented in the KPFK signal area. So I would encourage other fans of yours and listeners to call the station management, program director, and let them know that this is unacceptable, that that this is a community-based radio station. We should have a voice in what's heard on the airwaves because it has a direct impact on us and our community. So we're not going to, I'm personally not going to accept the fact that you're going to go, and we're going to fight to do everything we can to keep.
I deeply appreciate your support of the show. I deeply appreciate your support of the station and the network, and I want to be as clear as possible that KPFK and Pacifica are my partners. There are no issues with KPFK and Pacifica, and there's no reason for anyone to have any animosity towards KPFK or Pacifica. This is a financial issue, and we're doing everything we can to address it, and everyone's working towards. Our goal has never changed, trying to raise as much money as possible for Pacifica Radio and for KPFK so that we can do the type of work that we're doing. And this is just a critical moment in that. And while I deeply, brother, deeply appreciate your support of the show and your warmth and your respect for the show, I really want to extend that warmth and that support and that respect to KPFK itself and to Pacifica itself. They are my media partners, and we're trying to work this out.
Yes, thank you. And this is Greg Palast saying, look, again, investigative reporting, this top quality type of very, very different information for the community, and especially for the community of color in Los Angeles, that is missing. It's not easy to get the financial support that's needed, and that's really at the core of the issue. I'm sure the station will love to have your thoughts and opinion. Let's not do it with animosity, but also with encouragement about how we can go and get that funding, get that support, get that help. And, I'm sure the station would love to hear that they got to know their shoulder to the grindstone, or is that the right phrase? No, I think it's something else. Whatever, it's shoulder to the wheel that would help out. I'm sure if it's encouraging and join the effort, that they would love to hear that people are out there ready to join the effort to bring Jerry back.
So I want to play another clip. This is we're doing a kind of year in review best of, and in this clip, this is my boy Serge, and it was crazy what happened in Armenia this year. It was crazy beautiful. Youth-led music movement essentially swept Sarkisian from power, and there was a revolution in Armenia, and we were lucky enough to have a plug with my man Serge. Let's listen. And throughout the South, Baptist communities and others, the church never spoke up about the child rape that was part and parcel of the U.S. slave-based system. And to say, I'm against that. Oh, well, bully for you. The question was, how do you reconcile your church's support of the rape of children with your piousness now? How do you address the history of horror and trauma within your church? And let me add a little caveat for my Catholic brothers and sisters. Thank you for listening. If you are Catholic and you have never once in your life had a conversation with church officials about child abuse within the church, if you have never had a conversation with any church official from your church about this, you are facilitating child rape. Take your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. If you don't talk to them about it, they're like, it's cool. None of my congregants ever said anything about me sneaking off with little young Billy. Take your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. Let me see. Next up, let's talk to Johnny calling from Long Beach. Johnny, welcome to the show. What's the dealio?
Hello, Jerry. Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing, buddy?
I love you, man. I've been listening to you for the past 2 years, and I just can't believe what I'm hearing. I am very, very pissed. I am really mad. I basically don't know. I don't understand first what's happening. I don't understand why it's happening. I don't understand why this is. We need you, Jerry. The America needs you. The world needs you.
I need Johnny. Believe me when I say I need you also.
I love keeping the KPFK
you and because of the people like you. But this KPFK needs to find a way, a sustainable way to manage this like a business.
Okay, well, this is
just ridiculous. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I am so mad. I can't believe it. I can't believe that this is today's the last show.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
This is Greg Palast saying, yeah, I can't believe it's the last show either. But the reason I'm here is because I want to say it's the last show for now. And I agree with you. You're pissed, you're angry, but I also want you to be assertive and helpful. Let the station know that this show is important to you, and ask what you can do to help the station get it back on the air. There's many things we can do as volunteers, even if you don't have the money to help support. The more encouragement that the station has, that they have volunteers and people who really want the show and are willing to put some time, energy, or money into it, or all three, that's very, very important to the show and the network. Believe me, there isn't anyone here at KPFK. You know, I'm a common guest, and I've been a member for 1/2 century now. That isn't in tears about losing this wonderful show and Jerry Quickly for now. I want you also to not lose Jerry Quickly by saying, listen, I will be following you at Jerry Quickly, that's his Twitter handle, and at the Jerry Quickly YouTube channel, and the next couple weeks we'll tell you what our next moves are.
Yeah, exactly.
Just one more thing.
Yes.
So, I agree with everything you said. I have a problem with that. I've been listening to KPFK towards about 10 years or so. I just don't think that, I don't see a plan. I don't see like a way of running KPFK as a sustainable business, like generating money somehow. Besides, we can't be in this situation every. But anyway, this is how I feel about it. And I do support KPFK mostly with money because I don't live close, so I cannot come and volunteer. But I would love to. Another thing, what is, you mentioned plan, and that's my last comment, the plan. I would like to hear what is the plan to bring Jerry Quickly? What can we do, the listeners? What can we do to ensure Jerry Quickly comes back? And I'll take my answer off.
Thank you. I'll be very quick. This is Greg Palast. I've been talking to management and board today. You know, look, there's very limited resources, so we're coming up with a plan to try to find those resources. I'm working on it. This is Greg Palast, and Palast Investigative Fund is going to be working on this with Jerry and the great artists that he knows to try to get these resources put together to bring Jerry back on the air. This is very important, and it's very important that you let the station know you want Jerry back on the air. What can we do? We want to participate in getting This Is Happening back on the air. It is an extraordinary program. It's utterly unique in Los Angeles, and I would dare say in the nation. I've been all over the world on these things. It's an extraordinary program. Let the station know that you support the program and you're willing to help bring it back on.
And I really want to continue to emphasize and continue to insist that and to beseech y'all to please understand that KPFK and Pacifica are my media partners, and there are no issues with KPFK and Pacifica. The issue is one of resources, and it's one that we're trying to address. And if you're upset or frustrated with them, while I can appreciate your upset or frustration, it is misdirected. If it's directed at KPFK or Pacifica, it would be like you directing your frustration at me for not being able to do the show. KPFK, Pacifica, and I are media partners. We're in the same boat, and I want to do everything I can to help and raise resources for KPFK and the network. Taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. Again, that's 818-985-KPFK. I had a couple more clips we have that we're doing a kind of end of year in review. Greg, let me ask you, because you're a pretty political guy as an investigative journalist. Give us the 1 or 2 minute version of the top 1 or 2 underplayed stories this year.
Well, I always say my stories get underplayed. I was investigating, and I had a whole gigantic team of experts going through the names. I was sued Brian Kemp of Georgia and 25 other GOP secretaries of state to get the names of the voters that they purged from the voter rolls. And I then went literally using computers and 4 teams of experts from Silicon Valley, went through name by name and found that in the state of Georgia alone, 340,134 voters were illegally removed from the voter rolls. And I have to say, and this is here's the significant thing, 250,000 voters illegally removed, most of them voters of color. Stacey Abrams, as you know, the first black woman running for governor in American history, lost only because those voters, legal voters, were blocked. And I got to tell you, what makes me ill about it is I held a press conference with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the NAACP, and Operation Push, and NPR was there, and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution was there, and the New York Times were there, and they were all there, and we had all these expert reports, and they reported exactly on none of it, zero of it. They didn't want to tell that story. They would not tell the story about how hundreds of thousands of voters in Georgia, and I can tell you 125,000 in Mississippi, and 100,000 in Indiana, and 200,000 in Illinois were removed illegally from the voter rolls because we have to keep up this phony con that we have something called a democracy in America. We have a mockery of democracy, and that was a story that wasn't covered anywhere except, by the way, Pacifica, KPFK, Democracy Now!, and especially, no one gave me more airtime to tell this story than Jerry Quickly on This Is Happening, because he told you what's happening, not what the corporations want to tell you what's happening. He said, this is happening. Jerry Quickly, you're listening to the final program of this wonderful 2-year-long series, This Is Happening with Jerry Quickly, and we're going off the air after in a few minutes. You know, Craig, then keep up. And 100,000 in Indiana and 200,000 in Illinois were removed illegally from the voter rolls because we have to keep up this phony con that we have something called a democracy in America. We have a mockery of democracy, and that was a story that wasn't covered anywhere except, by the way, Pacifica, KPFK, Democracy Now!, and especially, no one gave me more airtime to tell this story than Jerry Quickly on This Is Happening, because he told you what's happening, not what the corporations want to tell you what's happening. He said, this is happening. Jerry Quickly, you're listening to the final program of this wonderful 2-year-long series, This Is Happening with Jerry Quickly, and we're going off the air after in a few minutes. You know, Craig, then keep up with Jerry Quickly at Jerry Quickly. His Twitter at JerryQuickly.com. You can also follow me on YouTube. Go to YouTube, just search for Jerry Quickly and hit subscribe. We post new videos every day. And Greg, we're running out of time here today, and I really wanted to get to this next clip because it stopped me in my tracks. We were doing a show on Brett Kavanaugh and his and the horrific effort to foist him on the Supreme Court that was ultimately successful. And while we were taking call-ins, there was a caller who called in and admitted to assaulting, an anonymous caller called in and admitted to assaulting a woman at a party. Before I play this short clip, I want to issue this trigger warning because this is an anonymous person acknowledging an assault, but I think it's critical to listen to it, and within that context, let's give it a listen. Next up, let's talk to Anonymous calling from somewhere in LA. Anonymous, welcome to the show. What's the dealio? Hey, Anonymous, how you doing? Am I on?
I just wanted to say I know that there's no way that Kavanaugh could possibly not remember unless he was, I know that because I did the same thing. I did do that.
When you were in high school, you attacked someone, or you were attacked?
I didn't attack. Actually, she agreed. There was at a party, and she was staying over, and she got drunk, changed her mind, but she was staying, and I didn't stop, and I did finish what we had originally planned, but she was trying to get me to stop.
Have you? It sounds, sir, like what you described sounds like rape. because you finishing what you started when the person has told you no is sexual assault.
Correct.
So have you ever thought about trying to make amends in some way, and not necessarily contacting that person, because I have no idea whether or not she'd ever want to hear from you, but have you ever done anything to try to make amends or learn or grow from what happened, or try to make sure that it doesn't happen to others? Have you, what did you learn from this?
What did I learn from that? I understand what I did. I understood what I did.
And I'm not even. I'm not even sure what to add.
I don't either.
So thank you for sharing that brutal honesty. Wow. Not what I was expecting to hear. Taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818. I'm just like, wow, I'm totally affected at this point. I can barely speak. That was a call that we received during our coverage of the Kavanaugh hearings. I hadn't listened to that call from the day it arrived until today when I was preparing for the show, and it was beyond haunting.
Wow. And again, this is Greg Palast, Jerry Quickly's guest at the last show of This Is Happening. This is the concluding show of this extraordinary 2-year series. You know, because of limited resources at Pacifica and KPFK, it's an expensive and difficult show. It's the most popular show of the afternoon and the evening, but it's going to be discontinued for now. We are working to bring it back on the air to stay in touch with Jerry.
Real quick, let me see who's calling in, because we have just about a minute left, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to choose our final caller of the show. So, let me see. I think the final caller, I don't know, let's go to line 1. Someone named Sasha's calling from LA. Sasha, how you doing? Welcome to the show. What's the deal? You're the final caller.
Well, I'm honored, and the only time I'd want to hear that this is the final show is on April 1st. I'll fool you, but apparently that's not the case, so I'm really sorry to hear that this is your last show. But I've been supporting KPFK, been listening for 31 years plus, and we got to figure out some little mechanism when people are pledging or something, just a simple thing to stipulate, I want 50% of my donation to go toward this particular show, like as if it's an endowment or something, right? Sure, that show is guaranteed.
That you can do.
I know they already split up the pie so many ways, but we need to have, we need to prevent something like this from happening in the future.
Well, Sasha, thank you so much for your thank you for calling, brother. Thank you for your continuous support of KPFK and Pacifica, and also for your support of the show. Again, they are my media partners, and this is simply a resource issue that we're trying to address. So please keep that in mind as you go forward. It makes no sense to have any frustration with them. It makes as much sense to be frustrated with me that for now this is the last show. So we're out of time. I want to thank all y'all for all your love, all your support. I want to encourage you to follow me on Twitter. Use the handle @JerryQuickly on Twitter. Again, that's @JerryQuickly on Twitter. And you can also follow me on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search for Jerry Quickly, hit subscribe. We post new videos every day, and the podcasts are all up on SoundCloud. Go to soundcloud.com/JHLive. Again, soundcloud.com/JHLive. And I really want to thank investigative journalist, New York Times best-selling author, filmmaker, and Balm v. Balmed, Greg Palast, for joining me for the Last Ups. Greg, thanks for being here, buddy.
It's been extraordinary.
Thanks, man. That's it, y'all. I'll be seeing you. That's it. And
what's going on? It's crack-a-lack, my peoples. How you doing? I'm Jerry Quickly, and I was told just a few days before Christmas that This Is Happening was going to be canceled and that I was going to be fired as of Friday, January 4th. Well, since then, my union is working with the station to try to restore the show. We have a commitment of an outside underwriting grant from a private foundation that will cover the majority of costs for the show, and as a result, the station has taken a pause to consider this offer. My hope is that they will accept this offer as opposed to pausing and considering the offer. Right now, your voices are critical for the support of This Is Happening. And to be clear, with your support, we have built the #1 afternoon and evening show at KPFK. The show is a platform for you all, you rebel scum, to survive the Trump administration. And you're exactly my kind of rebel scum. So my hope is that you will continue to support the show. I am fully dedicated to the show and its restoration, and the only way that we are going to get through white supremacy is together. And this show can be a critical component of how we all move forward together. It certainly has been for me. I hope that it will be for you going forward. And please take the time to repost and share this video, repost or share the links. You can follow them below. Please take the time to repost and share this video, repost or share the links. You can follow them below. And with your help, we can restore This Is Happening, and we can make this better for everybody, y'all. I mean that. Thanks so much for your support.
And then the end will come. And that end is going to be very bad. It will be denoted by many things, including the mark of the beast. And I know it sounds like a crazy person talking to you.
Oh, but Donald, I respect that, but just briefly interject that not all of us happen to believe that. But that's okay. Please continue.
I think what I'm trying to tell you, and I'm trying to have an honest moment with you right now, because you call for a lot of violence, man. And like the plan of San Diego with what Germany tried to do to get Mexico involved.
When did I last call for violence? Just one example would be fine. Central. I just make it real simple. Ain't no goddamn oath keepers coming into South Central to terrorize that community if they're not allowed to